Hello all, this is Dr. T.P. Lakshmi, working as an assistant professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering. Today we are going to see the Unit 3 in the distributed system. The Unit 3, it covers a topic. The first topic includes distributed file system. What do you mean by distributed file system? See, previously I told you that whatever files and data we are keeping in the distributed system, that is shared by all the users with some access rights. Okay. The distributed file system, which enables the programs to store and access the remote files exactly as they do the local ones, and also it allows the users to access the files from any computer on a network. The performance and the reliability experienced for access for these files which is stored at the server should be comparable to that for the files which is stored on the local disk. Same like how we are storing the files in the local disk, the same thing that we are going to be store the files in all the server with a backup. Okay, then whenever the client wants to share the particular file, the client needs to send the request to the particular server, and the server will check the access rights before giving the permissions to the particular client to access the particular the particular file. Then after checking the access rights, then the server will give the access rights to permissions to read or write the file or based upon the access rights of the particular client. The topics which is going to be covered in this video is, first of all, the introduction of the distributed file system, why it is required, what are the characteristics of the distributed file system, and then after file service architectures. So before moving on to the topic, we should know what is the learning outcomes of the distributed file system. First of all, you should understand the requirements that affects the design of the distributed services. First unit itself I told you that what are the challenging issues in designing the distributed system. So before moving to the distributed file system, you should understand the requirements of designing the distributed system. So that should be the main thing. Then after, you should understand the NFS. NFS is nothing but the abbreviation of the NSS is Network File System. So this was implemented by the Sun Microsystem. That is, the Sun Microsystem implemented the network file system, that is NFS. So that also you should understand how relatively it is simple and how it is widely serviced to design the distributed system. So these are the learning outcomes that you should understand before moving on to this topic. Okay. So next one is, you should obtain some knowledge of the file system, both local and the network. So you people know that what is file system first of all. Previously in the olden days, we were not using the file as a soft copy. Most of the files were created with the help of hard copy only. We don't concentrate on the soft copies. But nowadays the technology grows. We are maintaining most of the file, nearly 99% of the files we are maintaining as a soft copy. Why? Because the files which was created as a hard copy, maybe some natural disorder, it became lost. Okay. So in that purpose, we need to be maintain soft copy. Okay, soft copy also, sometimes the system crashes, we couldn't get the file, we couldn't get the backup. Okay, so then what we should do? We should have a backup always. So while coming to the distributed system, we have backup always. Why? Because all the data what we are creating or all the files which is stored in the distributed system, it is not going to be stored in the single server. It is going to be stored in the multiple server. One information, for example, take an example, this is a banking sector. Okay, so this is a banking sector. There are you can take any banking sector in our country. They are maintaining 3 servers. Okay, whatever information is stored in the first server, the same information will be stored in the remaining two servers also. Okay, that means we have a backup. Okay, if one server crashes, that banking sector, they can retrieve information from any one of the remaining two servers. Okay, so we should know the knowledge of, first of all, moving to the file system, you should know what is the local and the networked system, networked file. Okay, local file, if you are storing only in your laptop, whatever information if you are storing in your system, that is a local file. How you are making that local file into the networked file? That system is connected to the network with the, your system is going to be connected with the distributed system. Then your file, whatever files which is stored in your system, that should be a shared file. Okay, so that knowledge you should have. Next, you should have a catching knowledge of designing the networked file system. That we will see later. And remote interfaces also we are going to be see, but it is not same like the API that we are seeing in the first unit. Okay, application programming interface. So the remote interfaces are not same as the application programming interfaces. Next one, security is required because we are sharing the files. This is the most important challenges in distributed system. While sharing the resources, security is very, very important. Okay, that should be considered. That should be the special consideration. We are getting lots and lots of data. Okay, and the research also, it's moved towards the security on big data analytics, security on cloud computing. Okay, all are related to data only. So the research is also moving towards that side only. So the research is also moving towards this type of data security. Okay, so these are the learning outcomes of this unit. So now we are going to see the distributed storage system. The requirement for sharing within the local networks and the intranets leads to a need for different types of services as well as different types of storage. Okay, so we have different types of storage. Earlier storage systems was a file system, that is a network file system. That units are only files. We are not, even though we are connected with the networks, that is, it's a centralized one, they are not sharing any files. Okay, but now the recent one is, we have a distributed object systems that we seen in the second unit. Okay, so all are comes for the units are objects. The units are going to be covered as objects, and the example of this one is Corba and Java. File systems were originally developed for centralized computer systems and the desktop computers as an operating system. The facility of this one provides a convenient programming interface to the disk storage. So earlier, whatever the file we stored, the file we created, that will be stored in the local files only. Okay. They subsequently acquired the features such as an access control and the file locking mechanisms that made them useful for sharing of data and the files. Okay, so whatever the files that we originally developed for centralized computer systems as well as the desktop computers, the facility providing a convenient program interface to the only the disk storage. Acquired features such as an access control and the file logging mechanisms that made them for useful in sharing of data and the programs. So, but in the distributed file system, see, when the centralized file system also we have a sharing, but we don't have a backup. We won't get backup if anything lost. Okay, but if you go for the distributed file system, it supports the sharing of information in the form of files as well as the hardware resources in the form of the persistent storage throughout the intranet. So, if any one of the server fails, we can retrieve the information from the service which is available, the remaining service which is available. Okay. Next, a well-designed file service. Okay, the well-designed file service provides access to the file stored at the server with the performance and the reliability that should be similar to file stored on the local disk. So what is the difference between the centralized and the distributed now? Can you tell me? So first one is here also we can share the file, and here also we can share the file. Okay. The thing is, here we can share in a local disk, stored in the local disk on the particular system, and with the help of the centralized server you can share. Here also same like a local disk, but it is connected with network. That is what they are telling is connected with the internet. So what is the difference between these two? Here the performance and the reliability is more. Performance and the reliability increases when compared with centralized one. And then after, if the file, any of that server fails, the central server fails, we don't have a backup. We won't have a backup. But here we can retrieve it with the help of the remaining servers. So the backups would be there. So this is the difference between the centralized and the distributed system. Here the file service enables the programs to store and access the remote files exactly as you do as like a local ones. Okay, but allowing the users to access their files from any computer in an intranet. That is the difference between centralized and the distributed system. That is also looks like a local ones, but you can access these files anywhere, even if you are not even in the same place or same country or anywhere. If you are in anywhere, you can access the file. But centralized system you couldn't access. Only you can access only within the particular limit. Okay. The consistency column that indicates that whether the mechanisms exist for the maintenance of consistency between the multiple copies of the data when updates occur. Okay, so we should be this should be clear in that whether we need to maintain the multiple copies when the updates are going on. Okay, virtually all storage systems rely on the use of the caching to optimize the performance of the programs. Caching were first applied to the main memory and the non-distributed file systems, and for those the consistency is strict. Okay, that means it is denoted by the number 1. Okay, so it is denoted by the number 1 for one copy consistency. Okay, so initially it was strictly followed that they should maintain the one copy whenever the update occurs. Okay, and the programs cannot observe any discrepancies between the cached copies and the stored data after an update. Okay, so that is the program cannot observe any discrepancy between the cached already stored data and the updated data. When the distributed replicas are used, okay, whenever we are using the replicas, okay, whenever we are using the replicas are used, the strict consistency is more difficult to achieve. Why? Because we are having the more number of servers which is increased in the distributed system. Okay, whenever the servers increases, okay, then we should not say that we need to maintain the strict copy always. Okay, so in that maintaining the maintenance of the updation of the previously what I told you, this one it indicates that strict copy should be maintained. Okay, that is in the main memory and the file system which is not having the sharing, that is replica. See here, the first one main memory and the file system, and what this next one is remote objects and the persistent object stores which doesn't have a replicas, that only maintaining the strict one copy of data. Whenever it is updating, that should be updated. They should maintain one updated data. But the remaining, which are all having the replicas, okay, that is strictly we need to be follow that one. We couldn't achieve it. Okay, so the distributed file system such as the Sun NFS, that is a Sun Network File System. Here the cache copies of the portions of the files at the client computers, and they adopt a specific consistency mechanisms to maintain an approximations to the strict consistency. So they no need to maintain the strict consistency, so it will be reduced to slightly weaker guarantees. Slightly weaker guarantees. See here, so which is having the replicas. Sorry. So which is having the replicas and sharing. Which is having the replicas as well as the sharing. Okay, that will be maintained. That is a Sun Network File System, and the distributed shared memory that needs to be follow only the weaker guarantees to maintain the updated copies. Okay, but server, even though we have a sharing of resources and we have a persistence of objects and we have a replicas, but no need to maintain in the web server. Both client computers and the proxy servers maintained by the user organization. Okay, so the consistency between the copies stored at the web proxies and the client side, the client side caches, and the original server should is only maintained by the explicit user actions. That will be the original server in the organization, that only maintained, so no need to maintain in the web server. Okay, so the clients are not notified that whenever the page is stored at the original server is updated. Okay, why? Because that will be maintained by the original server, so web client they couldn't notice when it will be updated. For example, suppose if you are a client and you are requesting something from the through web browser, through some web server, okay, by using the Google Chrome, okay, you are searching something. So you don't know that whatever information is stored in the web server, whether it is updating also you don't know. Whatever you are requesting, the server if you are having this, it will be sent to you. So that should be known only by the server side, that is one server, that will be maintained in one server. Okay, that will be connected with some web servers. Okay, so in the previous first one also I told you that. So whatever you are requesting to the web server, that will be searches in the another server and get the response and send back to you. Okay, if it is not fine, then you will get an 404 error found. Okay, so no need to worry about that. The client doesn't know where the updation is there, where the main server is, so it doesn't know anything. Just whatever the client requests, that will be getting from the server. Then what is the distributed shared memory? What do you mean by distributed shared memory? See, we see still now we see only distributed file system. Then what do you mean by distributed shared memory? Okay, that means that system which is connected in the distributed system, just connected to the particular distributed system. Okay, that is all using the shared memory. Okay, whatever they want to access, store it in the, that will be stored in the shared memory. Okay, one system will be stored. Okay, and the information will be stored in all the server. Okay, but sharing the memory, the distributed shared memory, it provides an emulation of the persistent object stores. Okay, and it shares by the emulation of the shared memory by the replication of the memory pages or the segments at each host. So each and every host they have a memory. See, the distributed shared memory, all the systems is connected to the distributed system. Okay, they have a memory. Instead of sharing the file, they are sharing the memory itself. Okay, consistency mechanism which is used in the distributed shared memory systems, I explained in the previous one. Next we'll see about the persistent object system that vary considerably in their approach to catching and the consistency, and the CORBA and the persistent object. The next one is what? This one. The core part, the persistent object service. Okay, this is having sharing and the persistent storage and strictly maintain one copy. Why? Because it doesn't have the replicas. Okay. Now, while coming to this storage file system, which is the best one? The last one, peer-to-peer storage system is the best one. Why? Because which is having sharing of resources, storing the persistent objects, and sharing of resources. We have a persistent data, that is a continuous data, we can retrieve it, and even though we have a replicas, and no need to maintain the what? No need to maintain the strict one copy. Okay, why? Because here the replicas, I told you that wherever the replicas we have, no need to, we couldn't follow the updation of all the data in the server. Okay, so that is only weaker guarantee, and this will improve the scalability, performance, and reliability when compared with all storage. So totally we have 7 challenges in designing the distributed system. Here, what are the challenges that is going to be applied to the distributed file system? The first one is the transparency. So transparency means you know that it is not going to show all the data to all the user. Okay, so that means only what information is required, that information alone it is visible to the user. Okay, so in that we have 4 concepts in this transparency related to the distributed file system. First one is location, second one is migration, third one is concurrency, and the fourth one is replication. That location you know. A client cannot tell that where the file is located. Okay, then what is a migration? A file can transparently move from one place to the another place. That is one server to another server. The file can move transparently. Next one is concurrency. That is multiple clients access the same file. Okay, next one is replication. That is multiple copies of the file are exist. Okay, so these are all comes under the transparency. Next one is flexibility. What do you mean by flexibility? In a flexible distributed file system, okay, it must be possible to add or replace file servers. Also, a DFS should support the multiple file system types. Okay, for example, if you take Unix file system or Windows file system, whatever it may be, so it should support the multiple file system. Supports multiple file systems. Okay, it may be Windows or Unix. Okay, so any type of file systems it will be supported. Okay, that is what flexibility, flexible. Okay, so you can add or remove any number of servers. Okay, or you so you want to add any servers, that you can add it, or you want to remove any servers from the particular application, you can remove remove the server from the particular application. So some flexible should be there. Next one is reliability. Reliability that you know. Okay, what do you mean by reliability? That should be a reliable connection without interruption. Okay, that means the reliability. What you can tell in that related to the distributed file system, while transferring any file from one place to another another place. Okay, without any interruption, the file should reach to the destination. Okay, and if it is a continuous file sending also, that should not be any interrupt occurs in between the client and the server. So that will be the reliable connection. That's what the reliability is taking care of. Here we can say that this is it belongs some categories it is we are having. First one is consistency. In this reliability, the first one will take care of, that is the first one is consistency. Consistency is nothing but it's employing the replication and allowing the concurrent access to the files may introduce a consistency problems. Okay, so that means consistency means it employs a replication and allows a concurrent access to the files. Concurrent access to the files. If the concurrent access are giving to the files, okay, what will happen? There may be, it will introduce some consistency problems. Okay, and the next one is, so the issue, the key challenges here is consistency problems may occur. Consistency problem. Next one is security. Next one is security. Security means what? The client must authenticate themselves and the servers must determine whether the clients are the authorized to perform the requested operations or not. Okay. And further communication also, further communication between the clients and the file server must be secure. Okay. So here also the key challenges is what? Client side, the server should check whether the client is an authorized client or not. Even the authorized client, okay, that allows into that accessing the files from the server. Okay, further communication also, it should see the secure communication. The channel is secured or not. That also that should be taken care of. That is comes under the security. Okay, then what are the next? So secure communication is very, very important. So after that, what we can see, the another one will come under this one is fault tolerance. Fault tolerance. So these are the three challenges that belongs to the reliability. Okay, what do you mean by fault tolerance? Client should be able to determine. The client should be able to continue whether if a file server crashes. Okay, the data must not be lost and the restarted, the file server must be able to recover to the valid state. See what is fault tolerance? The clients should continuously work, okay, when any crashes occurs. That should be taken care of. Client should be continuously works when any crashes occur. And also, if any file lost, that should be retransmitted to the receiver. That should be retransmitted to the what? Receiver. If the file lost in between. So these are the things should be comes under the reliability. The first one is consistency. Consistency means multiple clients may access the same file. So in that consistency problem occurs, that should be taken care of. And the security. Security is from the server side, it should check whether the client is an authorized client or not. Even after the client, even after the server gave access for the particular client, that is an authorized client, the further communication also it should take care of whether there is a secured communication between the server and the client. Okay, the next one is fault tolerance. That means the client should be able to communicate, okay, when even though there is a crashes occurs in between. In any channels if the crashes occurs, but the client should be continually, okay, share the files. Okay, next one is file lost. In case of any file loss, that should be retransmitted to the receiver again with the safest, that should be retransmitted to the receiver properly. Okay, so these all are comes under the reliability. In order to distribute file system, to offer the good performance, it may be necessary to distribute the request across the multiple servers. Why? Because here we are having more number of servers. Always the distributed system is connected with multiple servers. So distribution of the file should be properly to all the servers which is available in that particular distributed system. And okay, we should check the updated information also. Okay, so this will be always check the performance of the files which is available in the multiple servers. So this challenges also is very, very important. So why? Because if we are telling, suppose if we are having a corporate company but I am having only 3 servers, okay, it doesn't matter. Okay, but if you go for an MNC company, we couldn't say that how many servers they are maintaining. So all the servers, they should be maintain the informations properly. Then only they will get a proper information. The users can get the updated information. So if it is 100 servers, if they are maintaining, means all the 100 servers should be maintained properly. Okay, so always that should check the performance of the multiple servers. Okay, the multiple servers may also be required if the amount of data shared by the file system is very large. Okay, next one is what is scalability? A scalable distributed file system, okay, will avoid the centralized components such as a centralized naming service. Okay, centralized naming service, a centralized locking facility and a centralized file store. Okay, scalable distributed file system must be able to handle an increased number of files and users. It must also be able to handle the growth over the geographical area. Okay, that is all over the world. Okay, it should check about the growth. Why? Because scalability. Scalability is always speaks about the number of users increases day-to-day life. Okay, so it always take care of the worldwide area, that is a geographic area. It should take care of the, it should handle properly the growth over the users, number of users as well as the servers. It should maintain the what we can say, it should maintain the balance. Okay, balance between the number of users increases as well as the servers. So first one is transparency and flexibility, reliability, performance and the scalability. These are the key challenges of the distributed system that is going to be applied on the distributed file system. We'll see the characteristics of the non-distributed file systems. Okay, what are the characteristics of the non-distributed file system? The first one is data and attributes, second one is a directory, third one is a layered module, and the last one is file operation system calls in Unix. Okay. First we'll see about what is the file system responsible. Generally, what is the file system responsible? First one is organizing the files. Yes, storage of files, retrieve of files, naming the files, sharing the files and protection of the files. What are they? First one is organize, share, naming. Next one is what? Share, naming, retrieval, then after protect. Organize a file, sharing the file, retrieve the file, naming the file and protection of files. So these all are comes under the file system responsible. So these are the file system responsible generally. I think so you studied this one in DBMS. Okay. So they provide a programming interfaces that characterizes the file, abstraction, and the programmers from concerned with the details of the storage allocation as well as layouts. So where the files are stored previously, the files are stored on the disk or other non-volatile storage media. That previous slide we seen that what are the storage media that is available to store the files. Okay, so previously the beginning that we stored on the disk or non-volatile storage media. Okay, the first one we'll see about the files, data and the attributes. Okay, that is the files contains both the data and the attributes. What do you mean by data? The data consists of this sequence of the data items. What do you mean by data? What do you mean by data? Data is, see, even if you are going anywhere, any shopping complex anywhere, there you can see the cameras. Whoever is capturing through that camera, everything is data. Whatever it is capturing, okay, in that camera, everything comes under the data. Okay, that is what information. Nowadays, 99% everything is in online only instead of offline. Okay, so all comes under the data. Okay, that means data is nothing but sequence of data items, and that can be accessible by the operation. What are the operations we can do it on the data? Either read and write. Okay, read and write on any portions of the particular file. Okay, the attributes. What do you mean by attributes? So we spoke about the data first. What is the data I told you, and what are the operations that we are going to be do it on the, what are the operations? Either read or write. Only these two operations that we are going to do on the data. Then what do you mean by attributes? The attributes are the held as a single record containing information such as the length of the file, timestamp, owner's identity, file type, and access control list. This is the format of the file attributes. What is the file attributes contains? The file attributes contains, the first one is the file length. Why these portions are shaded actually? The shaded portions, the shaded attributes are managed by the file system and are not normally updatable by the user. Okay, that means these shaded portions, these all are maintained by the, managed by the file system. Okay, and are not normally updates by the user. This one cannot be updated. Portions or cannot update by the user. Okay. So in that first field contains the file length. How many characters it should contain? While the owner of the file, while creating itself, they should fix the length of the file. Okay. Next one is creation timestamps. Okay. Creation time of the file. Okay. Then after, when the last time the file was, the particular file was read by the user. And this is when the file was recently updated. Okay. And the attribute timestamp. The attribute timestamps is used to specify that the property should take part in the concurrency management. Okay, how concurrently it will be, the attribute timestamp is used to specify that the property should take part in the consistency management. Okay, the next one is reference count. How many times the file has been opened? The count will be there. Okay, so these are the things comes under the shaded parts can be maintained by the file system, and this one, only these three can be updated by the user program. Okay, so this one will mention the owner of the file and what type of the file it is. What type of the file it is. Which type it is, either a JPEG file or MPEG file or image file. MPEG, audio file, or any Word document, any, that is, it tells about the type of the file. Okay, and then after access control list, here, what is access control list? What are the clients, who are all the clients are having the particular access? That list will be there in the access control list. Okay, so for example, if one client is requesting the server to access this particular file. Okay, how the server is checking that? Authorized person. First the server is checks the authorized client or not. Okay, while checking the authorized person or not, there itself it checks the access rights of the client also. Okay, how it is the server is checking the access rights of the client, which is mentioned in the particular file. That is, that list will be provided in the particular file in the place of access control list. Okay, so this is about the file attribute. So in this, the first one is directory module, file module, access control module, file access module, block module, and the device module. So totally how many modules we have? Totally 6 modules in this file. So this file system module, totally we have a 6 module. Okay, first one is a directory module. That you know what is a directory? Contains a list of files, right? So always a file relates a file names, that should be have a file ID. So here, if we have 7 files, sorry 5 or 6 files, okay, so that all together I make it as a folder. That is what directory. There also I should give some unique ID. Unique ID. Okay, that is what? That it relates to the file names to the file ID. Okay, that is combining the file names, files and make it as a file ID. And the file module, what it is? It relates the file IDs to the particular file. This will be belongs to this individual file. Okay, this file IDs are belongs to the individual files. Okay, so this access control module. What it is that in that access control module, I already told you that this will be contains the checks permissions. What are the checks permissions for the operation requested for the particular client? That will be in this particular access control module. Okay, and the next one is file access module. Okay, that means read or write files of data or attributes. Okay, the first one is access control, next one is file access module. What is the difference between these two? What's the difference between these two? This will have a data of access control for the particular client list who are all having the access rights of the particular file. Okay, and this file access module is which file is having which access. For example, if we are having five, I told you that 6 files are there. Each file, okay, what access they are having, either read or write. Okay, so it depends upon the particular file access. So that will be information. And then after block module, accessor and allocates the disk blocks. Sometimes it will be contains the information of the what are all the files are we have an access and what are the files we don't have an access, that should be blocked, and that information will be in the block module. And the device module will have an information about the disk IO as well as the buffering, that is the memory. Storage, buffering in the sense it's a storage. So it belongs, these informations will be in the device module. See, generally the file systems are designed to store and manage a large number of files with the facilities for creating, naming and deleting the files, right? So generally the files were either we can create it or naming the files or deleting the files. That are the facilities we have in files. Okay, the naming of files is what? It is supported by the use of the directories. The naming of the files is always supported by the use of the directories. Right. Next one, the directory is a file. The directory itself is the file. It offers a special type that provides a mapping from the text names to the internal file identifiers. That means, see, it itself, the directory itself a file which is having the particular information about the number of files. Okay, with the file IDs, file identifiers. Directories may include the names of the other directories also. Yes or no? I can keep one directory into the 2 or more or any directories into the one single directory. So directories may include another directories also, which leads to the familiar hierarchical naming schemes and the multi-part path names for the files which is used in the Unix and the other supported operating systems. File systems also take the responsibility for the control of access for the files, restricting access to the files according to the user's authorization and the type of the access requested. Okay, so it should have the file itself have a responsible of control access to the files. Okay, who are all having that control access information should be there. Okay, then after restricting access to the files, restricting information access, control access and restriction access. Okay, access to the file user's authorization and the types of access requested. Okay, either they are reading, updating or going to be execute. What type of access are requested? That also should be included. Okay, what do you mean by metadata? It stores the data about the data. That means it is used to refer all the extra information stored by the file system that is going to be managed by the management. That type of information of the file should be maintained by the management level. Okay, for example, see we have some number of files and that is in one directory, and we have two more directories and that should be in another directory. Okay, right? And so like this if we have, so what is the use of metadata? For the clients, the user wants to search any information in the particular server. Okay, with the help of metadata information, the metadata which has an information about the particular file, that means data about the data. So where it is found, some location or any information it should have, it should be maintained here. Okay, so or any unique ID it is having, that ID will be mentioned here. So with the help of that one, the client can search the information very fast. That is what metadata. Usually the metadata will be maintained by the higher level of the management. It includes the file attribute directories and all other persistent information used by the file system. That is a metadata which includes a directory as well as what are the files which is maintained here, that information will also be represented. So these are all the file system modules that we see. Here each layer depends only on the layers. See, this one will be, each layer will be depend on it. So this one will be depend on this, and this will be depend on this, and this will be depend on this. So above layer, so this below layer will be depend on the above layer. Okay, so each layer on the layers below it, that will be depend on it. So the implementation of the distributed file server requires all the components that is shown here with additional components to deal with the client server communication and with the distributed naming and the location of the files. Some operations. What are the operations are present in the Unix file system? So this diagram will summarizes the main operations on the file that are available to the applications in the Unix system. Okay, so what are the operations we have? Open the file. What do you mean by open the file? First one is open the file. Okay, what do you mean by when you can open the file? Okay, the file, if it is already exists, then only you can open the file, right? So the file can be opened when it is already exist. Okay, see, it opens an existing file with a given name. So open the file, and this is the file name and which mode that you are going to be open. Okay, either read mode or write mode. Okay, that mode should be written. Next one is creation of the file. Okay, creation of the file. This means create a new file. Okay, along with the name of the file should be given while creating, and the mode here also given. Create a new file with a given name, and the both operations delivers a file descriptor, read file, and the mode is either read, write, or both. Okay, so the mode has to be given. While creating the file itself, we should mention the mode. What are the modes of the file that we can do on that particular file? So first one is open the file, second one is create the file, and next one is close the file. Close the file which is already open. Okay, that means that you should represent which file, where it is, destination, file destination. Where it opens, that needs to be closed. File DES represents nothing but file destination. Next one, read. See the first one. Here the file destination we are giving, right? File destination means when opening the file where it needs to be open. So we need to give the path here where the file has to be open and where you are going to be create the file. So that's what here we are giving the file destination. Here the status of the file. That means it should, see, before going to close the file, you should know that what is the status of the file, whether the file is opened or closed already. So if it is closed, then we couldn't say it is already, the status will be is off, or you can give any signal that close. Okay, so if it is already open, then that should be closed and the status should be updated. Okay, the next one is count. Why is count? See, we see the data. Okay, whenever the users are reading the file or writing anything on the file, the count should be there. Okay, so count. That means while reading the file, The count, before the count is 1 means then now the count is incremented to 2, 1. The second user is opening the file and give the file destination. Okay, that is, if you want to read the file, so you need to give the file destination and the buffer, memory where you are going to be reading, and the how many bytes that you are going to be read the file. Okay, that is a transfer n bytes from the file referred by the file destination to the buffer. So how many bytes I am giving, that number of bytes from the file has to be transferred to the buffer, then the user can read it. The user could not read the entire file. Okay, that means they should give the size of the file, that is the length of the file should be mentioned. Okay, based on that, that transfers the n bytes from the file, that should be reference, which there the destination is from by the destination to the buffer they will be transferred. Then after the client can read it, and the write also same. Okay, the same they need to be referenced by the file destination from the buffer. Why? Because they are going to be write it. Okay, so the destination they will take the file from the buffer to the destination and they'll write it and again they'll store it in the buffer. Okay, next, both operation delivers the number of bytes. Why? Because actually it should represent how many number of bytes a user needs to be read or write. Okay, next one. What is the next one? Position is equal to LSEEK. What do you mean by seek? Moves a read write pointer to the offset. Okay, that means seeking the, if the user wants to, the client wants to read the content from the middle of the file, then with the help of this pointer, they can, with the help of this read write pointer, the user can take the file from the particular position. Okay, the next one is unlink of name. Okay, that is status is equal to unlink of name, that is removes a file name from the directory structure. That is unlink means removing the file from the directory. Okay, directory structure. If the file has no other names, then it is deleted. Okay, that means unlink it. Unlink and this is you need to be mentioned the file name. Okay, in that cases it removes a file name from the directory structure. It will be removed. But if the file name is not even exist, okay, then how you can remove it? We couldn't remove it. And the next one is link, that is adds a new name for the file name 1. Okay, that is renaming the existing file name. And this one is stat, gets the attributes for the file name into the buffer. Okay, that means they will sometimes it will be stored the attributes, the file attributes for the given file name into the buffer for easy accessible by the user. Okay, so these are all the file system operations which is available. In the topic characteristics of the non-distributed file system, first one is data, what is data and what is the attribute structure. Second one is the directory, description of the directory and what is directory and what are the characteristics of the directory. And then after the third one we see in the layered module, and the fourth one we see in the file system operations on Unix. Okay, next one we will see about the distributed file system requirements. What are the requirements that is required? The requirements which is required for the distributed file system. The first one is transparency. Second one is concurrent file updates. Third one is file replication, consistency, fault tolerance, hardware and OS heterogeneity, security and efficiency. So these are the things that is required to design the distributed file system requirements. The first one is transparency. Before moving on to this, why these requirements are needed? Many of the requirements and the potential pitfalls in the design of the distributed system were first observed in the early development of the distributed file system. Initially, they offer access transparency and the location transparency. Then after performance, scalability, concurrency control, fault tolerance and the security mechanisms that should be emerged in meeting the subsequent phases of the development of distributed system. Okay, so first one is transparency, that you know that what is transparency. In the beginning of the session also I told you what are the key challenges. The file server here is usually the most heavily loaded service in the intranet. So its functionality and the performance are very critical. Okay, the design of the file service should be support many of the transparency requirements for the distributed systems that is identified in the that is identified earlier. Okay, the design must balance the flexibility and the scalability that derive from the transparency against the software complexity and the performance. See, the following terms of the transparency that are partially or whole addressed by the current file services are: the first one is location, that we seen in the beginning. The first one is the location. First one is location. Next one is access, and third one is mobility. Any other? Access, location, mobility, and the important one, performance and scalability. Performance and scalability. Okay. So first one is transparency, location transparency, that we know that the client programs should see the uniform file namespace only. The files or the groups of the files may be relocated without changing their path names, and the user programs are the same namespace wherever they are examined. Okay. Next one is access transparency. The client program should be unaware of the distribution of the files. Okay, that means where it is distributing, the client should not be aware of that. A single set of operations is provided for access to the local as well as the remote files. The programs written to operate or local files are able to access the remote files without any modifications. Next one is mobility. Mobility in the sense movement. Okay. Neither client programs nor the system administrations tables, neither the client programs nor the system administrations, the client nodes needs to be changed when the files are moved. Okay. That means they couldn't know that where it is moving from which place to which place. Okay. The next one is performance transparency. That is client program should continue to perform the satisfactory while the load on the service varies within the specified ranges. Next one is scaling transparency, that is a scalability. This you can know that the service can be expanded by the incremental growth to deal with the wide range of loads and network sizes. So these all comes under the transparency. Next one is comes under the transparency. Next one is concurrent file updates. The changes to the file by one client should not interfere with the operations of the other client simultaneously accessing or changing the same file. Okay, this is a well-known issue of the concurrency control, and the need for the concurrency control for access to share the data in many applications is widely accepted, and the techniques are known to be, we can call it as an implementer, but it is very costly. Why? Because concurrently accessing the file is very difficult task. So if you want to implement this one, then it should be very costly. Okay, the next one, replication. Okay, what do you mean by file replication? In the file service that supports a replication. Why? Because all the server maintains the same data, that is a replicated data. The file may be represented by the several copies of the contents at the different locations. This has two benefits. Why we need to maintain the same file in different locations? With some benefits. The first benefit is it enables the multiple servers to share the load of providing the service to the clients accessing the same set of files. That will enhance the scalability of the service, and it enhances the fault tolerance by enabling the clients to locate another server that holds a copy of the file when one has been failed. Okay. First one is fault tolerant. First one is fault tolerant and the second one is improve the scalability. So these two concepts only we are using the file replication. Next one is, first one is a fault tolerant, that is the fault tolerance will also comes under the file replication, and the scalability also comes under the this file replication. Okay. Next one, few file services that supports the replication fully, but most support the catching of files or the portion of the files locally, a limited form of the replications. It won't keep the entire copy into the some other place, only the portion of the files will be on the some other place. This replication of the data, which includes the code replicated file service. This will be the description of the this type of replication we can call it as an coda replication. That means not the full portion, only the few portion of the files can be have the copies on some other file location. Next one is hardware and the OS heterogeneity. What do you mean by hardware and the OS heterogeneity? What do you mean by heterogeneity? It is a heterogeneous components which contains. Here the service interfaces should be defined so that the client and the server software can be implemented for the different operating systems and different computers. Okay, so the requirement is an important aspect of the openness. Here the requirement comes under the openness. This belongs to the requirements. That is, see here I couldn't say that this is separate and this is separate. One is involved in the another. That's what they are telling that this hardware and OS heterogeneity will be involved in the challenge of openness. Okay. Next one is fault tolerance. Central, the role of the file service in the distributed system makes it essential that the service continue to operate in the phase of client and the server phase. Obviously, the fault tolerance is used to face the issues in continuous connectivity only. Okay, if it fails, then only it will be enabled and it should solve with the help of, because here in the distributed system it is an independent failure, it is not a dependent failure, so we can solve it easily, but we should take care of. Okay, so in the transient communication failures, so example, if you take the transient communication failures, the design can be based on at most once invocation semantics. That we will see this one later. At least this one we'll see that one later. I think we see this one in. Okay, we'll see that one later. Okay. So in this type of the design can be based on the at most one semantics, or it can be used as simpler at least one semantics with the server protocol designed in terms of the idempotent operations. Next one is consistency. Consistency. So I told you that consistency means the previous one we see, that is stick to one copy, and weaker, more weaker, we seen, right? Consistency. What it is? The conventional file system such as that provided in the Unix that offers a one copy update semantics. Okay, that means always because we have our replicated copies, all the copies should be updated, but the first initially one copy should be updated once. Okay, then it should be the remaining server's data will be updated as per that particular server. So this refers to the model for the concurrent access to the files in which the file content seems by all the processes accessing or updating a given file, that if a single copy of the file contents existed. So if only a single file existed, what we can do? If it corrupted, we couldn't get the backup. But in the distributed system, we are maintaining the multiple server. Okay, then we need to be maintained updated of all the copies of the data. So that means that is must. Okay, next one is, for example, when files are replicated or cached at the different sites, there is an inevitable delay in the propagation of the modifications made at the one site to the all other sites that hold the copies, that it may result in some deviations of one copy semantics. I'll tell you one example. So we have nearly 4 servers. Okay, so first initially this server is updated. Okay, and the remaining 3 servers which is connected in the system is also needs to be updated, but there is some delay occurs in this server. This server and this server, we are getting a delay, and this will be updated immediately. Okay, so even if we want to overcome the issues in the delaying of updating, at least one should be updated immediately. That is what one copy update semantics. At least one should be updated. So this one is updated. So this is it will satisfy here itself. But if the delay after the network issue is solved, okay, then it will be immediately updated with the help of this server. So one should be updated immediately. The next one is security. This already we seen why the security is required. Security, all the file system, all the distributed file service, which provides the access control mechanisms based on the use of the access control list which is provided in the particular file. Okay, so based on the access control list which is provided in the particular file, so it has to be the server has to be allow the client, okay, while verifying this access control list. Okay, with the help of this list only, the server can allow the client to access the particular file. Okay. In the distributed file system, if there is a need to authenticate the client request, so that the access control to the server is based on the correct user identities, and it protects the content of request and reply messages with the digital signature. Okay, digital signature and the encryption of the secret data. So how it is securing? With the help of the digital signature as well as the encryption method. Encryption method I already explained you, but the digital signature in the sense, while sending in any file or any the client wants to access a particular shared file, okay, while the client is before accessing the file, okay, the client needs to keep their digital signature after access the file, or before access the file, the digital signature will be placed on it. That also it will be make it in the that also will be maintained in the list, access control list. Okay, with the help of that digital signature only, the particular owner of the file can know that this is the authorized client that modify the file or read the file, okay, or write the file. Okay. So the digital signature is another important topic that also you can use. That is very big topic that you will study later in the in your 4th year. Okay, that is information security. Then after, the last one is efficiency. What do you mean by efficiency? A distributed file service should offer some facilities that are at least the same power and the generality as those found in the conventional file systems, and it should achieve the comparable level of the performance. Okay, so these are all the things, these are all the characteristics which requires that these are the requirements that we need to design the distributed file system. Okay, so distributed file system characteristics only. So we should know that how these how these concepts belongs to the distributed file system. Okay, so the first one is transparency, second one is concurrent file updates, third one is file replication, fourth one is consistency, fault tolerance, hardware and OS heterogeneity, security and efficiency.